Okay, so the first one exporting this out as a UV template is right click and go into object mode and select your 3D model in object mode. Otherwise, when you come to doing a UV snapshot, it won't work. Okay, so once it's selected in object mode, just go to subdivs in our UV texture editor and go under UV snapshot. Under here there's a few options that we're going to change. We're going to make the image format a JPEG, and we're going to change the size to 1024 by 1024. That's a pretty big texture size, but we can always scale it down if it is too big. Next thing we do is just browse where we want to save it. I'm going to save mine onto the desktop and just call it cab_UV. Okay, and I'm just going to save it. Doesn't actually save it until you press OK. You'll get a save file down here. If I look on my desktop, there it is. So the next thing that we do is we just drag that into our Photoshop. Wait about 5 minutes because it takes that long for my MacBook to open it up. Yeah. What have you been up to today?
Working.
I like the way this has been.
You can cut it.
Like my video. No, seriously, like my video. I don't know why.
Students will die.
Yeah.
Help me!
Like my video.
If I don't get 10 likes in the next hour, the students will get it. Okay. So I'm going to do my texture really crudely. Obviously, you can go to a website like cgtextures.com and a new layer down here. And I'm just going to color in some parts of it really, really, really crudely. Okay.
Oh dear. That's very bad.
It's awful. It's my scratch tool.
Is it supposed to be like something off the Slither?
So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of coloring certain parts. Blue. Let's put blue the whole way across there. Blue and red. So once you have your texture made, what you do is you would file, save as. I'm just going to save it as a JPEG. JPEG. I'll call it, instead of cab_UV, I'm going to call it cab_text, and I'm going to save that. Okay, and then I can go straight back into my Maya. So obviously, you make your textures a lot more detailed and spend a lot more time in it. Once we're back in Maya, I'm just going to right-click on my model, and I'm going to assign a favorite material. If you're using wood or metal, you're probably best off using like blend for the metal or a Fong for the wood, just so it has that bit of shine. And obviously, that you can use Crazy Bump to like control it with a specular matte. So I'm just going to put a Fong on. I can close this texture editor down. And since we're dealing with the color texture, in my attributes for the material, I'm going to plug it into the color attribute. Okay. So we've got a load of other attributes. We've got transparency, bump mapping, specular color, even reflectivity. And we can actually input textures into every one of those. So we can control each attribute from a texture. But since ours is a color one, I'm going to select the color attribute just by clicking that checker box. And since it's a JPEG, I'm going to select file. If it was a PSD file, I would select PSD file. So make sure that you are aware of that. Okay. So I'm just going to click on this folder icon and go to my desktop. I can see my cab_text. Open that up. Okay, the texture is loaded up, but we don't see it in the actual real-time viewer. We have to select the texture ball. There we go. That is
Looks
my
like
texture.
Something an artist would have in the room.
A crazy artist.
Yeah.
I want one.
You want one, do you?
Splurged all over.
Okay, so that's how we unwrap texture and apply that texture to a more complex object. Okay.